Welcome back. This is King Rex coming at you with another video. This is a Tarth information guide. It's like the information guide I have on the Sith. I thought I'd make this guide here, basically just to give a little bit more about the Tarth and how you can use them. I'll give the advantages and disadvantages, the strategy I have, and the special unit orders that they have. First, the Tarth infantry or Tarth land units are stronger than all other land units. Their infantry have a +1 attack and a +1 defense. If you look at the laser squad, everyone else's laser squad is a 2 and a 5. I think the reload might be one where they're 2 and 4, they're a little weaker, where they get a 3 and a 6. So if you're fighting like units against one another, the Tarth do have an advantage, and they would probably win those battles. The cannons, which are the laser cannon on down, all have a +2 defense. So this is another good thing. Their cannons are a little stronger. This advantage is more useful early in the game. It's like I said, you could probably take out a colony early from one of your enemies with, believe it or not, a colonizer, because a colonizer versus one colonist for the Tarth will win. If you and another colony go after the same exact territory on turn one, you'll win that territory. You'll take out their territory. Plus, those laser squad early in the game before people get good units, since they're stronger, they could probably take out some smaller colonies that don't have a lot of colonists in them. The thing with this advantage is, though, you can't overcome higher units. If you look at, even though you go from a 3 to a 6, 2 to a 5 to a 3 to a 6, which is a pretty good advantage, because it's a 50% attack and a 20% defensive advantage with the laser squad. We're going from a 4 and a 12 with the next one up, which is a SAM trooper, which I usually don't make SAM troopers. So you're going to a 13, so that +1 doesn't mean a lot from 12 to 13. Going from 4 to 5, that's still a 25% advantage, but it goes down as you go, because like an assault trooper is a 12 and a 36, so the 1 and 1 doesn't make a big difference. Same way with laser cannons, they go from a 4 and a 10 to a 4 and a 12. But Holocaust cannons go from a 25 to 100 to 25 to 102. So you really has limited usefulness because it's really only better in the beginning of the game, and you can't overcome higher units. The laser squad isn't close enough to a SAM trooper that your laser squads from the Tarth are going to beat someone else's SAM troopers, because they're still going to be inferior units. Even the one that has I think the redo have only a 1 less, but still be a 4 and 11 versus a 3 and a 6. So they're still better units from the other. So you don't overcome higher technology with this. Another big thing about the Tarth is they have better farms than any other race. Their farms produce 50% more food, which means that you can put more of your production on farms into making wood, so it'd be better, easier to make wood. Plus, you can build their farms anywhere and still feed the colony. You don't need the plane. You don't need to be in planes to feed the Tarth. The hydroponic farm is more than enough in a mountain or a marsh. If you watched the Let's Play video, I had one in a marsh, marshes and mountains are equally bad for food. One of mine in a marsh with 5 colonists on it was making 55 food, and the mountains one could make 47 food, which if you run up to 50 colonists in that mountain territory, you're only going to be -3 food, and you can make that somewhere else. It's only going to cost you 3 to 6 credits to move that food over. So it's really, with Tarth, you can build them farms anywhere. It generally makes sense because they make good food because of that 50% bonus. So I think that's the biggest advantage, because you don't have to worry about food as much with them, generally speaking, because they're just good at it. They do have weak spies and weak C units. C units have 1 less attack and 2 less defense. Plus, all C units are specialized. Each C unit's good for like one thing. Unlike with infantry, they're just better levels. With the C unit, your transport is good for transporting troops, but it's not good for fighting at all. It's kind of like a colonizer, except you can transport up to 3 units. You have a Shockwave Dreadnought where they're just a straight-up battleship. Then you have the Shockwave Carrier, which is basically it extends the range of your aircraft. So, but it is a very strong ship at least. So basically, That does cost them more on sea units what they lose than what they gain on land units. But the way the game is made, sea units rarely come into play in the game. I mean, I guess you could make a world where there's a lot of territory and seas, like make the biggest map and make over 30% of it water. But usually water don't matter in this game, so that's kind of it's a disadvantage. It doesn't hurt them very much. The other disadvantages are spies are much more likely to be caught. To me, the only spies that are really worth making are the Relu, the Mog, and maybe the Chit. The other spies just aren't worth it because you can steal technology with a spy, but if you're a technology leader on the game, it's not going to help you much. And the other thing they do is they can spy on territories without your opponents knowing. But once again, you really don't need to build one spy for that. And in fact, if you're just spying on territories, you can set the spy to the spy order and kind of walk around the territories without even going in them. So spies to me aren't super useful in this game, and they're kind of expensive early in the game when you would kind of need them to go scouting around for you. You could just scout around with a laser squad, which is, I believe, 20 credits or 25 credits. It's not very expensive. Laser squads are 35 credits, 30 labor. Talking 100 credits and 25 labor for a scout. So the labor's not, that 5 labor's not a big deal, but that 70 credits does mean a lot early in the game. Plus, you got to put 10 tons of iron and an electronic component in the scout as well. The way that spies kind of are likely to be caught or not caught, the first thing is the unit status. If the spy is a green unit compared to a veteran unit is green unit's twice as likely to get caught as a veteran unit. It's 4 times as likely to get caught as an elite unit. Also, the spy special order you're choosing, if you're just spying, that's like a level 1. If you're trying to steal technology, that's a level 2. There are level 3s, but they're for other types of spies. The other level 2 is Relu Subversion, which is one of the best ones. And then if level 3s are Sith Poison Land, which I don't find very useful. The stealing of resources, which can help you a lot in getting resources, though it really won't, which is only Chit. And then you can sabotage with the Mog, which is really good, and that one's a level 3. Also, for units present in the territory, every unit present in the territory makes it more likely for your scout or spy to get caught. If those units are patrolling, they make it even more likely. A patrolling unit is equal to having 2 units within the territory that are not patrolling. If you spy on the Mog, you're more likely to get caught. If you spy with the Tarth, you're also more likely to get caught. A Tarth elite unit would still be 5% more likely to get caught. A Tarth Green unit can be up, if it's doing the easiest spying thing, a Tarth Green unit can be up to 40% more likely to get caught. If you hit 100%, you're caught no matter what. You can never be at 0. If your spy is not caught, they will complete whatever the mission is, though. Like I said, Tarth spies really aren't worth using because there's nothing special about them other than the fact that they get caught more likely. Strategies. One strategy I'd say is settle in the woods first if you can. You still get good population growth, which you kind of lose with if you don't settle. Which you lose a little bit going from plains to a woods, but you lose a lot going into the swamps and the mountains. You do want to avoid plains territories because you don't need the extra food that you would grow there. And the only other, like the way it works is that the resources you create, population growth's a little bit better, food's quite a bit better generally in plains, but you can get your food anywhere else. They're second best for wood, but you can get plenty of wood in the forest, and they're like worst or tied for worst in all the metal productions, which is the endurium, the iron, and the electricity. They're worse or tied for worse than those 3. So you're better off just avoiding those territories because you're not getting much of an advantage with the Tarth unless you want to build one territory that's making a ton of food that you're just shipping everywhere. Um, Also, you can employ what I call a rush strategy. I'm making a set of videos from that. They will be out before this video, so you can check those out. Basically, you can use low level units early on to attack and pressure your opponents. You can, in the right circumstances, you can win a victory just rushing. But generally speaking, the way you rush would be to take lightly defended territories without many colonists in them. You can take those territories over rather quickly with the Tarth. You can either keep the territories or just razz the territory and keep a little bit of extra money that you would get out of those. Um, the Juggernaut special order can soften up territories, especially if they have a lot of buildings in them and units, because it seems like when you're destroying stuff with Juggernaut territory, the buildings are falling on top of colonists, they seem to get beat up more than if you just fight them normally. So I'd say that settle in the woods, avoid plains. You can try that rush strategy. As far as the Juggernaut goes, that is the special order unit order for the Tarth. It can be used by all Tarth infantry units, but it cannot be used by cannons or anything else. It does quickly destroy buildings, but a negative of that is if you take over the territory, you won't be able to use those buildings because they're gone. And even if you're razzing the territory completely, it can cost you a lot of credits and resources. The picture is not using Tarth um, Juggernaut, but if I put Juggernaut in there, the first thing they probably hits that city center. Then they probably hit those two mines right away, and they're destroying a lot of stuff. Even if I didn't want this territory, destroying all the stuff in that territory would be worth a lot of credits and resources. And I wouldn't have to keep the resources if I didn't want to. I could sell them off to the scurrying, or I could possibly just leave resources behind that I'm not interested in taking with me. But you get half the credits back, so each one of those luxury housing would be worth 75 credits to me just to razz them and be done with them. And there's a lot more credits in the other items sitting there. So the Juggernaut, I don't find it super useful because I don't like destroying buildings. But if you're employing the rush strategy, if you're just trying to like cause setbacks for a territory that you're not going to be taking over, or that you may need to do that to get the territory knocked down to size, it can be good that way. I want to thank you for watching. Like, share, subscribe, and have a great day.